Welcome to my series for Car Mechanic Simulator 2015. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to check the description in the video for a link to my Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 guide, where you'll find complete rebuilds of all the cars, along with extra videos, tips and tricks, and a whole bunch of extra information including diagnostics, etc. As always, I'll be starting with the body so that at least the car I'm rebuilding looks halfway decent. And as you can see, it really doesn't look too great. It's in pretty bad shape, missing panels. At least the engine doesn't look half bad under there. Yeah, it even came with taillights. And I'm pretty sure that is body 0, so yeah, I got everything. And where did that repair bench run off to now? Right there. Now, always remember, if it's not 100%, it does not go on the car, or you get severely penalized on resale value. So I'll sell junk. And sort by condition. Okay, there's nothing left. Good. Now let's see. No hood. There are some parts I may have had in inventory from doing previous work for the various customers that you get throughout the game. Okay, so both fenders in the hood, I'll grab those now. Fast. Both fenders and the hood. And even if you were to buy every part and repair nothing, just put all new on, you would still make at least a small profit. Good, the door made it. And the door made it, and I had a spare. Trunk made it. Taillight. I must have had a spare rear bumper. And I had a spare taillight, and it looks like one made it. So that, right now, body's at 100. Now I am going to paint it just because I find that it looks nicer. It does not affect the resale value for some silly reason. But I like it. It looks much better. It's much more inspiring to work on. And throw it on the lifter for surgery. As long as the body is at 100%, you don't actually have to paint it. It's just 500 bucks out the window, unless, like me, you're doing it for the morale or just for the completeness. And now time to gut this. Now while you're gutting it, it's a good idea to make note, at least mentally, of the parts that don't recover, like ignition wires. Those will be gone. Plugs, they don't recover. That way, at least on your first trip shopping, you got a chance to buy some of these parts if you remember them. I always find that distributor never makes it. No filters survive either. They're always needing to be replaced with new. I have good luck with carbs usually. And at the end of this video, I will put up an overlay that shows the cost of the purchase, approximate repair cost, and approximate profit margin along with the sale value. So you'll be able to evaluate it for yourself. Belts never make it. Serpentine A, serpentine B. About the only thing from an exhaust system that ever survives is the exhaust manifold, and if the car has a turbo, that may make it as well. Now these rocker arms and their associated push rods do not survive. And there's 16 of each. That does slow down the rebuild a lot. The newer cars that have the nice little fuel rails are much faster to rebuild than these. And those pistons are good for garbage. They don't recover either. I'm kind of worried about these covers. They're in pretty bad shape. At least I'm going to have a lot of junk to sell. And off with its last head. Pop this guy. Crankshaft pulley and water pump pulley never make it. That water pump, it may survive, and I may even have a spare if it doesn't. Timing chain and the cam gear never make it. Camshaft's usually pretty cooperative with being repaired. And that is everything I can get under the hood. So it's time to send this thing up into the air and completely rip... Oh, I missed the fuel filter. That I could have taken. Not gonna make that mistake. I'll go get my oil buddy. I gotta remember not to rush, especially when shopping. And that should about do it. Well, I'm impressed. The last few engines that I rebuilt, they had pretty much no oil in them. That one seemed to have a full load, although it was in pretty bad shape. Now, I did actually test drive this car as well, and yeah, that was an adventure. That did not go well. If there had been a way to cancel the test drive partway through, I would have. The car was just uncontrollable. These rims can repair, but I have very bad luck with them usually. Calipers, not so bad. Pads and discs, good for garbage. Okay, tie rod again, those are no good. I always end up buying those. If it says the word sway, it's good for garbage. Sway bars, sway links, they don't make it. Suspension arms usually do. Shocks never do, nor do springs or caps. And now I might as well grab these bushings. They don't make it either. It's a good idea to just spam by a bunch of them if you're not tight on the budget. And the steering knuckles are usually cooperative. Last bushing. Scoot over here and pull this off. Okay, so I need the front end sway bar and the sway links. Shock absorber cap springs, and those are double wishbone. I probably won't remember most of these parts when I do go shopping, but I'm going to make an attempt at least. Steering rack looks pretty good, and those often recover. And now I'll just pull the exhaust now. In fact, I'll run down it. Take the drive shaft. Maybe I should have left it because it would allow me to just scoot back and forth, but too late now. Although I think if I swing it just right, I can get a hold of that gearbox. Gearboxes usually recover. Bearings you can kiss goodbye, same with the pressure plate. These clutch plates usually recover, flywheels never do. So that's everything from the engine that I can get without pulling those pistons from topside. Brake drums don't make it, nor do the shoes. Although I may have those in stock, I'm not sure. These knuckles are good. They usually come back to life. As do these U-bolts and the leaf plates. Small bushings, I'm going to need to make sure I have those in stock. And off comes the leaf spring. Those usually come back to life. More shocks. Fuel tank's good for garbage. Take that bushing. And I'll take that one. And now for the U-bolts. Grab the shock. The wheel cylinders usually do recover. I'm pretty sure I have spares of those. And that's everything I can do without yanking those pistons. And that fuel pump, pardon me, fuel filter. Let's go. Okay. And now to take that crank, and then I can take the engine block. And now it's time to see just what this is going to turn out like. For anyone with arthritis, carpal tunnel, or tendonitis, or who's afraid of developing those, this part of the game is really poorly designed with a lot of unnecessary spam clicking. By rights, 9 out of 10, or 90% should be 9 out of 10, and I just had this feeling that was nowhere near. Sell my junk. And the inventory management is just terrible as well for spam clicking. Note to self, I'm going to need a ton of rocker arms and push rods if they're not in stock. Okay, the block made it. Alternator didn't. Power steering pump didn't. Radiator made it. Brake servo didn't make it. Most of the parts I usually count on to survive did not. So let's go get power steering pump, alternator, battery, and servo. Battery, alternator, servo. Gonna need those. 2 of those. 1 of those. 2 of those. 2 of those. 1 of those. 1 of those. The ignition distributor often doesn't make it. The wires never do. Oil filter V8 OHV. 2 of those, 8 of these. Power steering pump. I really should have grabbed that crank pulley when it went by. I don't remember if I need those. I know I need those. I'll need the air filter. Serpentine A, serpentine B, O, H, V. Oh, I'm pointing at it. 8 of those. Timing chain. 16 of these. Yes, I probably just bought extra, but they're dirt cheap and I need a lot of them. Okay. Hope I remember that power steering pump. Yep. Crankshaft. Cam gear. Yeah, I knew I forgot it. cam gear V8OHV. And I did pick up the timing chain, but I need that crank in. And the ignition distributor didn't make it either. And I'll just grab that crank pulley now. If I did just buy an extra one, that's okay, I'll use it next time. Ignition distributor. And the cap didn't survive. Pop that on. Whenever you put on something that requires clips, it's always a good idea to clip it right away. It's easy to forget and it's hard to see when you do. Brake servo. Now, because the engine can be one of the absolute most expensive parts, I put 99% of it together right away. It's like the first thing I like to rebuild. And once I get this done, I can bring the car back down and put together, like, say, almost the entire engine compartment. And go the pistons. As you can see, it's already looking a lot nicer. And I'm just going to piston the other side. And now I can get this timing chain on. Will the timing cover? Yes, good, it survived. Crank pulley, good thing I bought one. Water pump, glad it made it. Not an expensive part, but when you lose a ton of little ones, it adds up. Water pump pulley. Can't believe I forgot that guy. Belts. And the fan. Ooh, didn't make it. Okay, so the fan did not survive. Let's see what else. Okay, so I need a fan and I need a head. Did I buy spark plugs? Fan. Engine head V8OHV. 800 bucks gone there. Intake, good, it survived. Now I get to see if those carbs made it. I have terrible luck with the filter housings. I usually end up buying part or all of it. Ooh, I lost one carb. Only 150 bucks, so it's not a big deal. Well, it's still part of the profit margin, but you gotta expect some losses. And I did get the filter. I think the cover survived, and I had a spare. And I think I did buy the spark plugs. Or at least I have them anyway. Sparks on this side. toss the wires on. Huh, it'll let me put the manifold on too. Now, I did lose one of them, so I need to go buy one right now. And that's under E. So I'll just slap that guy on right now. And the somewhat annoying part, which is the push rods and the rocker arms, more because of the camera, the way it works, and the way your mouse gets jumped around every time you go into a menu. Toss this on. Really looking nice at this point. I was hoping not to have lost that head, but all in all, I gotta say that I'm feeling good about what survived. Well, except for the alternator and the power steering pump, which usually make it. And the servo usually makes it. At least the head cover did. Either way, this car is going to be money in the bank. And it's going to look pretty sweet when it's done. And now for this side. This may be one of the slowest parts of rebuilding these particular kinds of engines, is messing around with all those rocker arms and push rods. In fact, that could be one of the slowest parts of rebuilding this car. It definitely adds time. And the radiator fan, let's get that all punched away. And that is everything for under the hood for now. I think the only thing I'll have to do when I bring the car back down is throw oil in. I should be able to get the rest from here. And the oil pan made it. Steering rack didn't. That's kind of painful. Okay, steering rack, front sway bar. Oh, my bad, the steering rack is actually only 800. I thought it was 900. The knuckles made it. Finish up with these tie rods. I'm glad that cross member made it. The gearbox was in pretty good shape, so I'm hoping it survived. sway link B, toss that on there, spring and cap. I think I'll just get this on my way by, satisfy my curiosity. Tell me there's a gearbox. Yes. No, did the starter... Nope. That was a fast answer. $95, it's not a big deal. Okay. Seriously, no suspension arm? Sway link B. And I'll just scoot around here, pop that together. Wheel hub. Now for brakes, I need drums, I need pads and discs. Or did I already buy discs? Oh well, I don't really care. I'll use them on my next job. Actually, I think one of the discs may have possibly survived. Caliper didn't, though. Okay. And I'm short one rim. And that'll be retro rim 11 that I'm missing, I believe. Yeah. Middle muffler, rear muffler, front exhaust. Okay, let's just buy the exhaust now. 2 of those, 2 of those, 2 of those. You. And that's the exhaust back together. Scoot down to the rear end, pop that in. I want to get this drive. Oh, lost another drive shaft. Normally I have good luck with those, but I've been starting to have a little bit of stale luck. I've even seen ones that look like literally just a splinter recover. And I lost a rear axle housing B. Now the reason that I'm popping back and forth from side to side is I find it's easier to avoid forgetting things. Okay, rear shock B, rear springs. but I think I'll take that. Hope I didn't just buy anything unnecessary, but they're all cheap parts, so it doesn't really matter. And I lost one solid axle. One retro rim 11 is needed. Apparently, oh, I'm so stupid today. Of course there's no springs. They're leaf springs. I've been doing so many cars with standard springs that it was just automatic to buy them as I was installing the leaf springs. But that I definitely need. So at least I got springs for my next job. And those were definitely not that expensive, so it's not a big loss. Considering I had the brake shoes from previously, kind of balances out, and some of the other parts. Retro rim 11. Rim retro. Pop this together. That is starting to feel alarmingly complete. I think I'm almost done. Let's see if there's anything else under here other than oil. Body and parts at 100. Let's move it to where we can take a good look at this. Oh, yeah, okay, now that's looking nice. I'm definitely liking that. That's definitely looking a lot better than when I first bought this car. So now let's see what it's going to sell for. $56,287. That's not half bad. And in a minute I will throw up the overlay with all the numbers so you can see what the actual profit on this was. And I think that's nice. I like that. Time to sell it. As a reminder for those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to check the video description for links to my Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 guide. Hope you've enjoyed the video and hope to catch you again soon.